Good afternoon. This is Brenda from Melville Arts Atwell House, and this afternoon I'm just wanting to share with you the remainder of a workshop that's been happening here all day with Lindsay Pow. It's Introduction to Abstract from Nature and Geometry. And we can see here, first of all, let me introduce Lindsay. How you doing, Lindsay?
I'm fine, thank you.
That's good. You can tell the viewers what you're doing, because I obviously have just stepped in and don't know.
I'm working from abstract shapes. So I've got a triangle and a circle, and I'm building textures on the picture with various textural tools. Here, a broom, scraping palette, painting knives, etc. And I'm just building up the modelling paste and scratching into the surface.
I can see that is, quite, I was going to say rich, because I mentioned before that it looks like chocolate icing.
It is chocolate icing.
Yeah, lovely. Explain what it is that's made it so thick.
This one has some of this modelling paste, which is generally used for fixing bathrooms. Gap filler. I can't turn that one around.
So what is it that you do with it exactly?
I'm mixing it with the acrylic paint because it's an acrylic. It's got, see on there, acrylic?
Yes.
Yeah. So it mixes perfectly well. And here I'm mixing it with some powdered pigment to make it thicker.
So you're not actually mixing it with paint, liquid paint?
This was liquid paint.
Okay.
And see how it's thicker at the top there?
It's also a different, it's matte. It's not as glossy.
And it's thicker.
Yeah.
And its consistency is a little bit more like chocolate frosting.
Definitely is.
I could mention that again if you'd like.
Yep, go on.
Chocolate frosting.
Beautiful. Okay, so would you like to tell the viewers what it is about your workshop that people have come to learn?
They've come to learn, there's a couple of different aspects. My painting on the floor down there is working towards abstraction using nature as a source, and this one is working towards abstraction but using geometric shapes.
Yes. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little visit to some of the participants today, and
tell them that my lawyer will be looking at this.
So how are you? What was your name?
Hi, I'm Wendy.
Wendy. I'd love to show people the painting you did this morning.
Yeah, sure.
Let's just have a look at it. And let's talk me through it, because I'm just, the colours and the whole thing when I saw that took my breath away.
So I guess this is a water scene. It's based basically on a picture from Iceland, I think, Antarctica. But what I've learnt today is to free myself up. I generally tend to do portraits and landscape. And so it was about just using a more freer style with a palette knife. And
have you put any of the acrylic gap filler in your paint as well?
Yeah.
You have.
And it really does give you a stronger paint, especially for acrylics. It bulks it out, so it saves you buying the other medium.
And is it easy to work with?
Yeah, I use oils mainly. I'm used to working with oils, and I found this rather similar in that because it's thick like an oil.
Yep.
It can go down the stays, and it's dried now, and the colour hasn't seemed to have changed much.
No, that's true.
Sometimes with acrylics
they do, they fade.
So I was happy with that.
No, I love it. I love the movement in the water. It's just really beautiful.
But I'm finding this a bit more challenging.
This one's so that's your nature, and this is your geometry.
Which I think it's a lot easier to do. The idea of I started with circles,
yes,
revolving out, and now I'm sort of bringing some other lines through it. But I find this more challenging.
Yeah, and is that because you naturally usually paint landscape?
Yeah, and also portraits, which is
Okay.
a face is a face.
Yes. So
And
realism.
So it's not having something to start from.
Sure.
So it was my image for that last painting before
Yes.
was this one.
Yes.
So in a way, I expanded it out,
Yes.
but you're working from something.
So the geometry one is purely coming from within,
Yes,
and that is the challenge,
Challenge.
isn't it? That's
It
the
is.
challenge in art, is to bring the within out with not looking at an image.
true.
But I think you're doing a beautiful job. I can see what you're doing with the paint, that you're putting texture on there and you're creating movement.
Yeah, I'm enjoying doing the layering, and I didn't think I'd be able to do this with acrylic. So I'm really enjoying that sort of movement of the colours.
And does this also have that magic
Yes,
gap filler in
definitely.
it? It does.
Good old gap filler.
Lovely, but if we can get close here, we can sort of see the texture on that. Well, thank you, Wendy, for
My
sharing.
pleasure.
Okay, we'll come over here. And how are you? What was your name?
Hi, I'm Lesley.
Leslie.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at your landscape one.
Yeah, it's just the first layer and it's not terribly abstract.
I don't know, I think it is.
Yeah, it needs a lot of more work, but I do like the colour of it. So I'll do some more work on that one. I didn't use a lot of the texture technique, which Lindsay was speaking to us about this morning, but I used more on
this one.
This abstract one, particularly
Yes.
for the turquoise, and then I drew into the turquoise, so you can really see the texture in there. You can really see the difference between the textured and just the flat
Yeah.
acrylic. And you can draw into it or scrape into it, and just to give it more interest and more texture.
Yeah. From the conversation we had before, I remember you saying that you found it hard to free yourself up.
Yes.
That you really did find there was a resistance almost.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to come to the class, because abstract is quite difficult, as Wendy says. If you've got a picture, you can copy the picture, but when it's something that you have to create from your own imagination, it gets a little bit tricky.
It does, because
Yeah.
you've got to have, consistency in balance. It's got to
Exactly.
have,
Yeah.
the tonality has to be there, and it has to have still a focal point.
It's still got to have all those qualities that
Of
a
a normal
landscape has.
exactly right.
Yeah. And
But I
that's-
just love this. I love the colour.
Yeah, I love working with colour. I guess colour's my thing. It's got obviously a long way to go, but I do like the way that the colours are working together.
No,
Yeah,
lovely.
Particularly the turquoise and the pink there. They look.
Yeah, no, I
yeah,
just love the texture you've got in
Yeah,
there. So
and
hopefully
just
you'll
drew
be...
lines into that, so to give that edit. Yeah, it's got a long way to go, but yeah, it's coming on.
But have you had fun?
Oh, absolutely, it's been
There you
fabulous.
go.
I've learned so much.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Well, thank you
great.
for sharing.
Thanks, Brenda.
So this workshop is a beginning of an indication of one of the courses that Lindsay will be running here as a 4-week course, Abstract with Nature and Geometry. So thank you, Lindsay, for sharing, and thank you, ladies, for letting me look at your artwork.
Thanks, Brenda.